Beachz, welcome back to Projects Anonymous, and in today's video,
we're going to go over everything in page setup in your document properties.
So let's get to it. So we've done different videos covering document properties, but we thought we'd give you a nice guide on how to use page setup within document properties.
Yeah, we'll go over every option that's in there, and maybe some of it's helpful to you, maybe it's not, but we'll go through it.
We'll also show you what setting we usually use for embroidery. So we're going to go ahead and open Inkscape. Make a new document.
So Inkscape is going to default to this letter size page here, and it's not very helpful. There is a scale up here, it's in millimeters. Us being in the US, we're used to inches, but that's part of document properties that we can change. But looking at this right now, it's not necessarily useful in trying to gauge what size of project we're going to do, but we can change all that. Go to document properties. You can see there's a shortcut here, Shift Command D for a Mac or Shift Control D for a Windows machine. So it opens up our document properties window here off to the side, and you can see it's set it up for an A4 page like I mentioned, and in our display units of millimeters. So if we were happy with the A4 size page and we just wanted to see a measurement that makes sense to us, we could just change that here. Of course, depending on the type of project, Inkscape obviously is used for all different kinds of projects, not just embroidery, of course. There's all different kinds of measurements that you could use for your particular project. But for us, we're going to use inches, and you can see that changes the ruler here on the top and the side. So this alone would be more helpful to us when deciding the size of an embroidery project. But of course, we can change the size of our page to different sizes that are preloaded in here. You can see there's kind of a lot. But we have found doing for embroidery, setting it up to the particular capacity of your hoop. Yeah,
because you don't want to be making a 5-inch project, but your hoop is less than 4 inches.
Right. So again, now that our display units are in inches, you can see that our width and height are still displayed in millimeters, and you can change that here into your unit of measurement that you like, and then you can easily change into whatever size that you'd like.
So a few common hoop size for us is 4x4 and 5x7.
Yeah, we typically try to stay within the 4x4 hoop because the hoop itself seems to hold the material down a little bit better because there's less things to hold down. Of course, we have a smaller 1.5 by 2 inch hoop that we could also use for just like monograms, but very, very small embroiderable area. And then of course we have our big hoop, which is
5x12.
5x12.
We have a couple videos covering
repositionable on that one. We don't use that one a whole lot simply because there are additional considerations when using that hoop with regard to the space that you can use. But anyway, this is our normal setup that we use. So you can see that there are some additional things that we could customize here. So you could resize the page to the content that you're using. So if you had already a design that you were importing into Inkscape, you could just click resize page to that particular drawing, and it will kind of draw this border around it with borders or without borders, or margins I should say. Again, it doesn't give you the scale and controllability that I think setting up your page to your embroiderable area on a hoop. But again, that's for embroidery projects. And Inkscape is used for all different kinds of projects, and this may be helpful to you.
Okay, so I'm not exactly understanding the resize page to drawing your selection, so can you show me an example of it?
Yeah, certainly. So if you had a drawing that you're importing or you were designing, so we'll just use this rectangle as an example here with curved edges, you can simply go into your document properties and resize the page to that particular drawing. So if I just clicked on this, you could see that our page has adjusted to the rectangle itself.
So it's kind of a shortcut.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. Go back to our 4x4, and then we can move on to the next thing. So the next thing isn't necessarily a document property as much as a useful way to resize an image that you have brought in or scale it to a particular ratio. So for example, if I go ahead and draw that rectangle again, and I put it there, I'll go back into my selection tool, and with whatever image that you have in here that's selected, you can go into this scale area and you can scale it up or down. So if I wanted to shrink this down 5 times, then I can go into here and hit 5. And now it is 5 times smaller than my initial drawing. And vice versa, you just have to use decimal points to make it bigger. So if I wanted it 50% bigger than what it was, then type 0.5, and that's pretty much there. And then for the view box, it's really just, do I want to move it on my page a particular increment? So if I wanted to move it in the X direction towards the left side, then I can move it over like that. And same with the Y, kind of like that. So again, not so much a document property as much as a useful way to incrementally scale or move a object on your page overall.
I think this could work well if like either you make your design really small and then you're like, oh, I want to make this bigger, so then you can make it bigger, or if you import something. Yeah,
it's just another way of doing it rather than grabbing a corner and moving it physically bigger or smaller. If you wanted to do it a specific way, right? If you're going to print this out, for example, you drew it small scale and you wanted to make it big scale and you want it to be at a particular
very specific
ratio, then you would enter it rather than just grabbing a handle. But anyway, that's just another tool in there.
Same goes with width and height, very specific way to maneuver.
So back to actual document settings of things that you can do is having a checkerboard background. Now, Megan, why have we found using a checkerboard background as useful?
So we have used not a checkerboard background, and sometimes when you have a white object, you can't really see it, or if you had a black background, you can't see your black objects. So this can make it so you can see all of it, so you kind of can maneuver things, and sometimes we'd lose our objects and then it would just probably embroider out. So this could be helpful for that.
Yeah, when we initially started Inkscape and Inkstitch, there was no dark mode, so everything was white and the background was white and there wasn't a way to change that. But now that there's a dark mode, white is less of an issue for us. But there are certain gray colors that we may potentially use in here where you can see that. So you don't have to use checkerboard as a way of seeing a particular color. You could also just change the entire background color now. But we have found just using checkerboard is a way to prevent us losing, the same color of object into the background. It kind of pops out a little bit because of that checkerboard. But that's the way to do it. The other way, like I said, you can just change the background color, right? You could just go in and literally change it to whatever you want so that you can see an object that you may have in there. Now, you can also decide, do you even want to show a page border? Of course, for us, with setting up, the whole point of the whole setup is having that border so we know what size or what our max is for a size. So we like showing a border, but we absolutely could change the border color to something a little bit more highlight, right? The other thing, just kind of an effect, you could show a border shadow. If we zoomed in on this a little bit, you can see that there's somewhat of a shadow back here, where if I turn that off, I don't know if we actually see that. I don't really see it.
I don't either.
I don't really see a border shadow anymore. I think in older versions it was a little bit more prevalent on the white background, but I don't know. I don't really see a difference. Maybe we're missing something here, but yeah, I don't really see a border shadow anymore. Not that it's really helpful in designing or anything. It's just kind of there to kind of pop out the page, but I don't know. I don't really see anything there. The other setting you can do is make the border on top of a drawing. So I'll turn that off for now. Go ahead and just draw something here. If I have my image, whatever we're wanting to embroider or design, you could see if I, cut over the border right there, it's on top. But I can make it may be helpful by putting the border of the page on top if I'm going to exceed those lines a little bit. Could be helpful for particular types of designing. Doesn't really matter to us, but it is in there, something you can do.
So the last thing in document properties is a display option, which is use anti-aliasing, which basically isn't really helpful for us because we mostly use Inkscape and Inkstitch for embroidering. But if you're more using this for graphic design, this might be helpful. So it's more of a rendering type of thing.
So when rendering an SVG, anti-aliasing allows, I guess, for a cleaner image, I guess. Not really sure on the specifics there, other than it's used for rendering. And again, we don't render anything outside of our simulator realistic preview, which has nothing to do with this. But
I mean, if you have more information on this tool, you can go ahead and comment it.
Sure. So that's pretty much it for page setup and document properties and all the options that are there for you.
Yeah, I hope this was a helpful guide for you just to get an overlook of the page setup within document properties so you can kind of see what each option does and maybe it clears up some confusion you had with things. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like it if you liked it.
Like it.
Subscribe if you enjoy our content.
Subscribe.
And turn on those notifications so you get my every single time I post a video. Stay crafty.
And be happy.
Bye.